All right, Eagles, Commanders. Eagles are 6.5-point favorites. Divisional road game for Philly could be a little bit troublesome, but the way Hurts in this offense was clicking, especially through the air against the Raiders, gives me all the confidence in the world that they will be able to throw the football against the team that allows the most passing yards per attempt in the NFL, in the Washington Commanders. I have a hard time seeing the Commanders keeping this close, especially when you think about how this Eagles defense has played since acquiring Jalen Phillips. They're allowing just 14 points per game, but they have been bad against the run sometimes. 24th in the NFL in run defense in terms of yards per carry, allowing 4.5. The Commanders are 7th in the NFL in yards per carry offensively, so they have been able to run the ball efficiently. I think that could be worrisome for the Eagles. If they're running the ball well, the Eagles offense for some reason takes a dump like it has in a few weeks this season. I just have a tough time seeing it against a secondary like Washington, which has the lowest or the highest yards per pass attempt allowed out of any defense in the National Football League. So I like the Eagles minus 6.5, but keep an eye on the Commanders' run game if they can control the clock. And if this Eagles offense lays an egg, which they're more than capable of doing, then they could be in a little bit of trouble here. But I don't foresee that happening. I like the Eagles minus 6.5. They looked really good against a bad pass defense last week. No reason that shouldn't carry over, and this defense has been pretty lights out. Marquee matchup, Packers-Bears. Like, we're getting some good games on Thursday and Saturday, and then after that, it falls off. It really does fall off a little. Not completely, but it's just, yeah, it kind of has. Either way. Bears 10-4, Packers 9-4-1. This game, if the Bears win this game, they're going to the playoffs. There is a world where if they lose this game, they have one more game and then they play the Lions. If the Lions win out, that last game could be for the last playoff spot. The Bears have Packers, Niners, Lions coming up. They got to win one of these. I bet all three of them will end up being in primetime, but Packers, Niners for sure is in primetime. I like the Bears in this spot. The Packers lost their best defensive weapon and their best defensive player from last week. Their best defensive player on the team last week. That can't be overlooked. The Bears were 10 yards away from extending that game the first time they played in Lambeau with Christian Watson, with Micah Parsons, and getting Christian Watson back. Jordan Love's numbers took a spike. They spiked. The offense looked way better with Christian Watson on the field than without him. And against the Broncos, once Christian Watson went down, it was a real issue. Let me double check, see if he's playing, though. I think he is, actually. But I still like the Bears even if he does play. But if he doesn't play, then I'm all over the Bears for sure. Let me just check real quick. I probably should have came prepared here. He's questionable. Bear with me. Bad podcasting. Hold on. He's feeling pretty good and expects to be all right. Okay, so if he plays, that does change everything. I think that I like the total in this game a little bit better, which is at 46.5, and I like the Packers' chances a little bit better. But the Bears' defense has just gotten healthier and healthier, and guys are starting to get their feet underneath them. Jalen Johnson had a pick last week. He's playing back to a Pro Bowl level. They have one of the best secondaries in football with Kevin Byard, who's playing at an all-pro level. I think the Bears' defense is good. I think it's good. They do let up a lot of yardage, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't translate to points because they lead the NFL in turnovers. So they're real weak against the run. They allow 5 yards per carry. So I expect a Josh Jacobs heavy program out of Green Bay, which makes a lot of sense, especially if Christian Watson is a little bit banged up. And the biggest concern for Green Bay's defense now is how are these corners going to play now that Micah Parsons isn't on the field? Micah Parsons said it himself. He's never had a season without a Pro Bowl corner. And when you have a guy like Micah that gets the quarterback so fast, it makes their job a whole lot easier. So Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine are going to have their work cut out for them. They're going to have to be a little bit more sticky than they have been at times this season because the pressure's not going to get home as fast. And their safety play is elite. I think best safety tandem in the league between Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams. But these corners are very worrisome. I love the Bears in this game. Luther Burden also came into his own a little bit. He's been getting more confidence. His confidence has just been rising, and he had a pretty good game against the Browns. When the ball's in his hand, he makes guys miss. I like the Bears. Give me the Bears minus 1.5. I think the Bears can take the Packers if the Packers don't get Josh Jacobs going. And Caleb Williams is also playing with his confidence at an all-time high in the NFL. So I like the Bears at home because the Packers are coming off of a tough week with injuries. And the Bears are good, man. The Bears are good. They've beaten some good teams and they've blown out some bad teams. Those are all the signs of a good football club. I love the Bears in this spot, minus 1.5. All right, let's go through now. Let's cruise through some of these stinky games that we got going on here. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of stinkers. There is a lot of stinkers. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We're in for a little bit of a tough week in terms of entertainment value after Thursday and Saturday, but there are some good ones still mixed in there. Either way, real quick, we won't spend too much time, but Jets at Saints, the Tyler Shuck show will roll on. I'm a Jets fan. The Jets defense stinks. They don't have an interception all season. They fired their defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks, which I think was a good move, and they're bringing in an offensive assistant to call plays defensively. Brady Cook starting again for the Jets. They suck. They just suck. The Saints with Tyler Shuck, they've beaten the Panthers twice and the Bucks. He's playing confident. He's like, his press conference was a little bit weird. Not weird, but he's confident. Let's just say he's confident. He's slinging it. Give me the Saints -4.5. Bills at Brown. I don't bet against the Jets to lose, though, so I won't be placing that bet. But if you, gun to my head, you need to place a bet on this game, I'm choosing death because I'll never bet against my New York Jets. But gun to my friend's head, and I have to tell him what to pick, what to bet on. U.S. currency should never be placed on the New York Jets when they have 3 wins on the season. Go with the Shuck Show. Go with the Saints. Bills at Browns. The Bills are 10.5-point favorites. My favorite play of the weekend is Bills -4.5 in the second half because they have the best second half team in football. The Browns defense is stingy, but the Bears eviscerated them. Shedeur Sanders sucks. Like, he sucks. Let's stop pretending like he's good. And the Shedeur meat riders on Twitter, you just gotta ignore them. You don't give them the time of day. They're just delusional. The Bills' run defense also not good, but neither is the Bears, and the Bears are sold out to stop Quinshon Judkins. Tried to make Shedeur Sanders beat them. He wasn't able to do that, even though the Bears' secondary is better than the Bills, especially since getting Jalen Johnson back. The Bills' secondary is still good once they get Christian Benford back, and he was practicing on Wednesday. So I think the Bills are going to beat the brakes off of this garbage Browns team. Shedeur Sanders has only covered 1 spread since being a starter. Josh Allen's playing great MVP level football right now. The Bills are notoriously a second half team, so I'm going to double units on their -4.5 in the second half, along with the Bills just 10.5 as well. And listen, back in like week 3 or 4, I was like, the Browns at home are going to be a team that covers spreads. The way this Bills team is playing, and historically with Josh Allen, when the Bills are rolling, they just beat the brakes off of bad teams. The Browns are a bad team. Give me Buffalo -10.5. Chargers at Cowboys. This is probably the most fun game of the early slate besides Panthers Bucks. I like the Chargers in this game a whole lot, and they are underdogs on the road. Chargers defense has been playing some of the best football they have all week or all year. Over the past few weeks, top 10 scoring defense, number 2 total defense. They're 3rd against the pass, and they have been weak against the run, but they've reined it in over the past month or 2 of the season. At one point this year, they were like 5.5 yards per carry defensively is what they were allowing on the ground. Now they've got it down to 4.5. That's a whole yard. They've been way better against the run, and they are a top 3 team against the pass. The Cowboys have the best passing attack in football, so something's going to have to give a little bit here. I don't think the Chargers will completely be able to shut down Pickens and CD because that's just a hard task. But the Chargers do also generate a good amount of pressure. They do. And the Cowboys protect Dak. They're 9th in sack percentage allowed. Or excuse me, I think that's wrong. They're 3rd. They're 9th in sacks allowed, but 3rd lowest in sack percentage. They just throw the ball so much. There's more opportunities for Dak to get sacked, but 3rd lowest in sack percentage in the NFL. Tui Tuipulotu, I think, is playing at an all-pro level. He's been the Chargers' 2nd best defender outside of Dion Henley. Derwin James is a stud. They could have 3. I don't think Derwin's going to be an all-pro or Dion Henley. They could have 3 Pro Bowlers. They have 3 Pro Bowlers at all 3 levels of their defense. They're the real deal, and this Cowboys offense is good. I don't think it's good enough to get them over the hump. And I will say this too. The Cowboys defense, they lead the NFL in pressure. Justin Herbert gets sacked at the 5th highest rate in the NFL. Their offensive line in LA is banged up. But even though the Cowboys lead the NFL in pressure rate, they're 21st in sacks. So just logically in my brain, that tells me that teams are getting the ball out quick, even though they're getting pressure, and that's because their corners can't cover. They just can't cover in the back end. And Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, they're good matchup. That's a good matchup. The Chargers win that matchup against these Cowboys secondary. And I was high on Savon Ravel over his first 2 weeks. He has not been good over the past couple of weeks. Still a rookie, still not giving up on him. Obviously, he was my guy. If you listened back in March, back in April during the draft process, but I think this is a good matchup for these Chargers pass catchers against the worst pass defense in football. I think they'll be able to win. I think the Cowboys will get some pressure on Justin Herbert. He just needs to get the ball out fast. I think he'll be able to do so. The Chargers are a better football team. Despite their O-line absolutely sucking, and the Cowboys have the best passing offense in the NFL, the Chargers have one of the best passing defenses. The Cowboys have also allowed the most passing yards in the league. J.J. McCarthy just hung 34 on the Cowboys. I think Justin Herbert will be able to do so. Give me the Chargers plus 2.5. The Chargers team total in this game is 23.5. So we're taking that, we're adding that to the slip. The Cowboys allowed 30 points per game. So it's the Chargers over 23.5. It's the Chargers plus 3.5. I don't know if I can trust this Chargers team legitimately down the stretch in the playoffs because of how bad their offensive line is, but I can trust this Chargers team against the defense that is as garbage as the Dallas Cowboys. Despite them being number one in pressure rate, they're 21st in sacks. So they're getting a lot of pressure. It's just not turning into negative plays because their DBs cannot cover. So I trust the Chargers in this spot against Dallas to cover the spread as dogs, win outright. And their point total at 23.5 is ridiculously low considering the Cowboys allow 30 points per game. I would ladder that Chargers point total all the way up to 30. That's how bad this Cowboys defense is. J.J. McCarthy just hung 34 on them. So give me the Chargers. I don't trust them in the playoffs because their offensive line is just so hurt that if they play a team like Denver or if they play a team like Houston, I don't think they stand a chance because Justin Herbert's not going to have a chance, and he has been historically 0-2 in the playoffs, playoff sinker. So I trust the Chargers against the Cowboys. I don't trust them in the playoffs at all. Take them plus 3.5. Take them over 23.5 as their point total as well. Chiefs at Texans. Gardner Minshew, what are we doing here? Like with games like this, I'm not going to give out a pick because it would be irresponsible to bet on Gardner Minshew versus Cam Ward, Chiefs versus Titans in Week 16. Who knows what happens with Gardner Minshew at the helm? Case, I would lean KC, but I'm not adding that to my slip because even though it's Gardner Minshew, the Titans are 30th or worse in virtually every offensive category statistically. Fuck this game. Will be fun. I hope Gardner Minshew wins. Quinn Ewers, I hope he feeds Rashee Rice. I need Rashee in fantasy. Quinn Ewers versus Joe Burrow. Bengals at Dolphins. The Bengals are 3.5-point favorites. This is another game that's just hard to gauge because you don't know what you're getting out of Quinn Ewers and this Miami offense. And I think Quinn was a little bit of an underrated prospect coming out. Like he showed flashes at Texas at times, but he was also injured a lot. He also almost choked against Arizona. Obviously, he's not an incredible pro, but I think he had the makings of a career backup. We will see. And he has a chance now to get paid against this Bengals defense that sucks. So the over 47.5 is appealing. The Dolphins defense also stinks. The Bengals defense, though, they're allowing 6.5 yards per play, the most in the NFL. I think Burrow's going to torch this Dolphins defense. So that contradicted itself. I think Burrow, the Bengals defense sucks, but I also think Burrow is going to torch this Dolphins defense. I'm not getting a pick for this game. I hope we get to see some Zach Wilson at some point for Miami over the next 3 weeks. I'm not giving it a pick, but yeah, it's Quinn Ewers versus Joe Burrow, who talks like he wants out of Cincinnati, but he doesn't at the same time. It's weird going on there. Another stinker, Vikings at Giants. Minnesota's 3-point underdogs. Jackson Dart versus J.J. McDogshit. If J.J. McDogshit puts together one more good performance here against the Giants defense that absolutely sucks, we're gonna remove the nickname McDogshit, and he'll just be J.J. McCarthy. But the Vikings defense has been playing very good. And so has McCarthy over the last 2 games, 5-1 touchdown interception ratio. He's taking care of the football, and this Giants defense sucks. They allow the most rushing yards per carry in the NFL at 5.6 yards per carry. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason props are in play here, not adding them to my slip, but that's a market I would look into. I think Jordan Mason rushing and then Aaron Jones scrimmage. The Vikings defense, however, is still pretty good. They're top 10 in total defense. They blitz a lot. They just haven't gotten any help from their offense, so their points allowed number is pretty low, but they're getting constant short fields. I don't think there's a team that's thrown more interceptions than the Minnesota Vikings this season. But JJ's reined it in over the past few weeks. The Giants defense not very good. I like the Vikings plus 3 here in this spot against the New York Giants, and I will be adding that to my slip. I'm a Jackson Dart guy. I just don't think he has enough help, and this defense that Brian Flores has, they do a lot of stuff pre-snap, and I think it can cause some havoc for a rookie quarterback that's still getting his bearings in this league. All right, last game of today's episode. Obviously, if you're new here, I'll do the 1 o'clocks and then I'll get into the 4 o'clocks. If you're watching on YouTube, you're gonna see it anyway. But on Spotify, tomorrow's episode will be the 4 o'clock games, which is definitely a better slate. Obviously, Jags, Broncos, Patriots, Ravens. I'll go into that game as well for Sunday Night Football. Baltimore being 3-point favorites is a little bit crazy there, and I've been spewing a lot of Patriots hate. I think I like them as dogs here. I really do. But either way, Panthers or Bucks at Panthers. Tampa are 3-point favorites. The Panthers are the most volatile team in football. They beat the Rams and the Packers, but they lost to the Saints twice. I just don't believe in this Carolina team, and I don't fully believe in Bryce Young. Who knows what version of him you're getting every week. But then also Baker Mayfield's been playing bad over the last 2 months. He's completed over 60% of his passes just once in the last 5 games. The Bucks are 2-6 in their last 8. The Bucks offense has looked at its best over the past couple of weeks when it goes through Bucky Irving, and that's what needs to happen if they want to win against Carolina. If you remember last year, he really had a coming out party against them the first time he played the Panthers. Having Mike Evans back obviously helps this Bucks offense in a tremendous way. We saw that on Thursday Night Football a week ago. I think Baker is laboring a little bit. I think he does have a little bit of an injury he's playing through, so a long week helps the Bucks from that standpoint, and the Panthers just make no sense. They don't generate any pressure. They're last in the NFL in pressure rate. They're 29th in the NFL in sacks, and Baker has looked uncomfortable in the pocket, especially against Atlanta a few weeks ago, or last week, excuse me, on Thursday Night Football. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket, and he made some errant throws, some bad decisions, took some bad sacks. That's not a problem against Carolina because they don't get sacks. The only team that they really got pressure on was the New York Jets, but Justin Fields doesn't know how to throw the football. So that's more Justin Fields sucking than the Panthers pass rush being good. So I like the Bucks in this spot as 3-point underdogs. The Panthers left tackle and left guard both didn't practice. Okongwu and I forget their left guard's name, but they didn't practice on Wednesday. Bounce back spot here for Tampa on a long week as well. Hopefully Baker's healed up a little bit. I like the Bucks -3, but this division is just a sad state of affairs. Whoever plays this, whoever's the what is it, the 5 seed is going to be in for a treat here. Let's get into the 4 o'clock slate now. Falcons at Cardinals. Atlanta are 3-point favorites. Long week for the Falcons. Kirk Cousins coming off of a game on Thursday Night Football against the Bucks in Week 15, where he played the best game of his season, not ending Tampa Bay's playoff hopes because the Saints would go on to beat the Panthers later in the week, but throwing a real wrench in their plans. Can he continue that type of production against the Cardinals defense? That remains to be seen. Jacoby Brissett obviously been cooking, and Atlanta's defense is not as good as it was. Remember that Bills game on, I think it was Sunday Night Football a couple of months ago. They were the number 1 ranked pass defense in the NFL after that game. They've dropped to 11th in yards allowed per pass attempt. This defense is just not as good as the numbers will tell you, especially over the last few weeks of the season. But where this Falcons team has been good defensively is their pass rush. And everybody wants to talk about James Pierce Jr. Everybody wants to talk about Jalen Walker. And now they're right to do that. 5.5 and 8 sacks between the two of the both first-round picks. James Pierce Jr. leading the team in sacks. But second-year, fourth-round pick, Brandon Dorless, defensive tackle, has 7 sacks on the season. They have Leonard Floyd. They're getting help from not just their edge rushers. They're getting good push on the interior of that defensive line as well. And the Cardinals allow the 8th highest sack percentage in the league also. So I think this Falcons defense, if they can get some pressure on Jacoby Brissett, get him off of his spot a little bit, that could be very beneficial for this Falcons team. The Falcons secondary, though, it's gotten burnt. It's gotten burnt, especially down the stretch here with Sam Darnold at 250, Baker Mayfield at 270. They both they threw combined for 5 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. Marv might be back, and Michael Wilson. That's a very dangerous wide receiver duo, especially with Trey McBride, the best pass catching tight end in the league as well. I think the Cardinals will be able to move the ball pretty easily against this Falcons defense if they can just keep Jacoby Brissett standing upright for a little bit of time. The Falcons are also going to get Drake London back in this game, so I love the over, especially with the way Kirk Cousins was spinning the rock last week. And listen, This is a game where you want to take the player props. The total is at 48.5, which means Vegas thinks there's going to be a lot of offense. This game is in Glendale, Arizona. Not a lot of weather that can mess up a player prop as well. Jacoby Brissett's been a beast in feeding Michael Wilson, feeding Trey McBride, feeding Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, if he's back, Kirk Cousins, if Drake or Kyle Pitts, if Drake London doesn't play, take his player props. You might want to take them anyway if Drake London plays. Clearly, Kirk Cousins liked going his way. David Sills is a guy to keep an eye on. The reason I think they have such a good connection is because when Kirk Cousins was working with the twos all training camp, David Sills was one of the wide receivers on that unit. So he has some chemistry with him built up over the course of his tenure in Atlanta, or at least this season in Atlanta. I think he could be a guy to attack. And obviously Drake London, if he's back, you have to bet him as well. If you're betting playoffs, really whichever props you feel confidently about in this game, I would take. Most importantly, I think I would take Bijan scrimmage yards. I'm not adding any of those to the slip. What I will add is Cardinals +3. I think this is going to be a close shootout, and the over 48.5 in this game. I don't think the Cards defense can slow down the Falcons offense if Drake London plays. I don't think the Cardinals also allow 4.5 yards per carry and the 12th most rushing yards in the league. Not great against the run. Bijan is gross, obviously. I don't know why I put the Cardinals down here. I meant to say the Falcons -3. The Falcons -3, not the Cardinals. But I love the over 48.5 more than anything. Let me just make sure I type that in before we go any further here. Yeah, I don't know why I said the Cardinals. The Falcon. I like the Falcon. All right. Steelers at Lions. Detroit are 7.5-point favorites at home. Aaron Rodgers is playing some of the best football so far this season, especially over the last couple of weeks against Miami, against Baltimore. He has his highest average yards per pass attempt since week 4. He's been stretching the ball down the field. He's been spreading the ball around. He's been taking care of the football. He hasn't been taking a whole lot of sacks. Kenneth Gainwell has been huge for the Steelers offense over the past few weeks or so. The only concern for the Steelers is no TJ Watt. And if you can get pressure on Detroit and Jared Goff, you can really mess up this whole offense. I don't think they'll be able to get that much pressure without TJ Watt. But I will say this, though, Detroit, it might be without Graham Glasgow as well. So I think I like the Steelers in a little bit of an upset spot here, especially if TJ Watt plays. I would sprinkle Steelers money line. This seems like such a Tomlin spot, too. Road touchdown dog. This is a spot where Tomlin just pulls out all the stops and gets an upset. I mean, the Lions have been a little bit of a letdown in spots like this so far this season. And I don't want to play too much into Pittsburgh beating up on the Ravens and beating up on the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. But the Ravens did beat Oh no, the Lions beat the Ravens earlier this year. I'm a dumbass. That was almost a bad take. It's late here, fellas. It's late here, fellas. But I do like the Steelers in this game there, especially to cover. I don't know if they can win outright, but 7 seems like a lot of points for a Lions team that hasn't exactly won convincingly against teams that I think from a talent level are a little bit equal to them. And outside of their pass rush, defensively, the Lions don't have much to rely on in the secondary. They've been getting gashed a little bit the past 2 weeks by the Cowboys, by the Cowboys, and CeeDee Lamb left early in that game, and by the Rams last week in Stafford. And then Blake Corum and Kyron also ran all over them. Not that Kyron Williams, or not that Jalen, oh my God, I can't speak, I'm tired. Not that Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell are Kyron and Blake Corum, but it's a pretty decent 1-2 punch, especially Kenneth Gainwell. I like the Steelers to cover 7 points in this game. I'm tired, ladies and gentlemen. It's late. Bear with me here. But we'll get into the 2 marquee matchups that I am very excited for. Jags at Broncos, Patriots at Ravens. But first, quickly, take the Texans -14.5. They're playing some of the best football in the NFL right now. They have the best defense in the NFL right now. Geno Smith is better than Kenny Pickett. I think it's marginal, even though that's crazy to say. And the Eagles just shut out this Raiders offense. Houston's defense is way better than the Eagles defense, and that's not a disrespect. The Eagles defense, that's just a testament to the Houston Texans defense's greatness. Take the Texans. They proved last week they can win in dominant fashion. Take the Texans to cover 14.5. I don't care about the hook. Not scaring me. Okay, water break, and then Jags at Denver. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Denver Broncos. Denver are 3-point favorites at home. The Jacksonville Jaguars, against some other elite pass rushes so far this season, have struggled. I'm talking about the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Texans twice. They're 1-4. In games where Trevor Lawrence has been sacked 5 or more times, they're 0-3. He got sacked 7 times against the Rams, 7 times against the Seahawks, 5 times against the Texans. All 3 of those teams are top 10 in pressures, top 10 in sacks. Those are some of the elite pass rushes in this league. This Jaguars offensive line has not been able to contain them. I think the Broncos, who have the most sacks in the NFL, the second highest pressure rate in the NFL, are going to get after Trevor Lawrence all day long. The Jaguars are also without Bishal Tune, who's been a very impressive 1-2 punch with ETN. I can't fucking speak. I need to go. I'm pissed off that I'm not articulating the way I want to be. It's really pissing me off. But Tuin's been more efficient than ETN on the ground. They've been a very good committee back. They're without Tuin. The Broncos pass rush is the best in the NFL. They have the most sacks in the league, second highest pressure rate. And if you're going to tell me that Jacoby Myers and Brian Thomas Jr. are going to be able to get open on this secondary with Talona Hufanga, Riley Moss, Pat Surtain, you're fucking lying. You are fucking lying. I think the Jaguars are a sneaky team in the AFC. Their offense just does not match up with this Denver Broncos defense in the fucking slightest, especially without Bishal Tootin. Give me the Broncos -3 here. I also trust Bo Nix against the Jags defense that has been pretty solid over the past 2 weeks. Top 10 against the run, top 10 against the pass in terms of yards per pass attempt, yards per carry. But I trust Bo Nix way more than Trevor Lawrence against this Jags. I trust Bo Nix more against this Jags defense than I do Trevor Lawrence against this Broncos defense. I can't fucking speak. I'm going to have an aneurysm. Give me Denver minus the points. I think they're the best team in the AFC, best or second best. Them or Houston, in terms of on paper, their roster. The Bills are I just have a fucking Josh Allen. I hate Josh Allen. I hate the Bills, but it just seems like the way my life goes as a sports fan, I've been ripping on the Bills all season. I've been saying the Bills are the most poverty team in the division. That's what I've been saying. And when I start making cases like that, usually it comes back to bite me in the ass because I say they're the most poverty team in the division because they have 0 rings. And correct me if I'm wrong, 1 is bigger than 0. The Jets have 1, the Bills have 0. The Dolphins have 1, the Bills have 0. They might have some recent success in terms of division championships. Would you rather win the division or win a Super Bowl? The Bills are the most poverty fucking franchise in the NFL. But if they win a Super Bowl this year, which they probably will because I talk so much shit on them every single week, then I'm fucked. Boys, I am tired. I'm tired. I can't speak. I need to go to bed, but also I don't want this podcast to be 20 minutes. I'm a 30-minute podcast guy. I give you guys 30 minutes a day. That's what I need to do here. But it is fucking 4 in the morning, dude. I'm such a dumbass. Fuck that game for going till 2 o'clock. What did I do? Like, what was I doing? That game went until like midnight. What did I do? I guess I had to research a little bit. I scrolled too long. I took a shower. I don't. It's irrelevant. Patriots Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have done absolutely nothing to be 3-point favorites against this New England Patriots team. And I'm saying that as a New York Jets fan. I despise this Patriots team. I despise Boston sports and everything that fan base stands for. But I can tell you one thing. I've watched the Patriots. I've watched the Ravens. The Patriots are a much, much, much better football team. Their defense is better. Their quarterback play has been better. Lamar Jackson has not been a good passer this season at all. He's on career for the lowest completion percentage since his rookie year, second lowest passer rating since his rookie year, second lowest quarterback rating since his rookie year. Drake May has objectively been a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson this season. Obviously, Lamar Jackson clears Drake May. Drake May can never lick the cleat off that guy's boots. But this season, Drake May has been playing better football. This season, the Patriots defense has been better than the Ravens defense. And the real weakness on this Patriots team is their offensive line. But the Ravens pass rush is 30th in the NFL in sacks, 25th in the NFL in pressures. I don't understand how Vegas got to this conclusion that Baltimore are 3-point favorites. That makes 0 sense. That seems like ridiculous Patriots fatigue, even though they blew a 21-0 lead and Drake May was non-existent in the fourth quarter against the Bills last week. I don't care. This Ravens team is not good. Their defense is not good. And the fact that I'm so confident in the Patriots at +3 is very, very scary. But I'm going with my gut. I'm not going to psych myself out because Vegas is trying to get me in some trap line. The Patriots are the better football team on paper, and not only are they better roster wise, they have better players. They just match up better. They match up very well with the Ravens. Give me the Patriots in this game. But yeah, Drake May has objectively been better than Lamar Jackson so far this season. I think they have the guys defensively in their back end to match up with this Ravens group of weapons with Zay Flowers, Christian Gonzalez. That's a good matchup. That's a matchup you favor. Marcus Jones, Rashad Bateman. That's a matchup you favor if you're the Patriots. Contain Mark Andrews and then get some pressure on Lamar, who's also on pace for a career high in sacks. Like, Lamar Jackson has not been good this year as a passer. He has regressed as a passer. He's completed 60% of his passes just once since October. He's on pace for the lowest completion percentage since his rookie year, his second lowest QBR since his rookie season, and he's on pace for a career high in sacks. He also has not been as mobile. Obviously, he's laboring a little bit, dealing with an injury, but he's just missing some simple, easy throws on a pretty weekly basis. Their red zone offense has been non-existent in Baltimore, which is crazy because they went from having one of the best red zone offenses a year ago to the worst red zone offense this year. If you get into the red zone against a team like the Patriots, you're going to have to score, especially when your defense doesn't get any pressure the way the Ravens defense gets zero pressure. And we've seen Drake May at times this season when the offense has stalled a little bit. Two times that stick out to me, obviously the second half last week against the Bills started getting some pressure. The second half against the Falcons, where they almost blew. I don't remember what the lead was, a 2-possession lead. I believe Drake May did fumble. They scoop it in. They might have scooped and scored. I don't remember exactly, but they didn't score any points in the second half. The Falcons were getting pressure. So if you can get pressure on Drake May, you can stop this offense. The Ravens can't get pressure. So give me the Patriots +3. That's an episode. Subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're listening on Spotify. Go listen to yesterday's episode for the rest of week 1 if you're listening on Spotify, and go listen to the College Football Ultimate Playoff Preview. That episode was a banger. Make sure you go listen to that. I love you guys all, man. I'm doing my best here. I'm tired, bro. They're probably not the greatest episode, but we fought through it. We got to the end. I still am confident in my takes, even though if I'm not articulating them the way I should, I still am confident in them. So I love you all. I'll catch you guys on the next episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast.